Hi, I'm Zach. I wanted to convert my 2011 Rav4 Limited into a camper. And, the thing is, I'm a musician. I'm not a carpenter or an engineer or any of that. I have some power tools and I know the basics. So, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. But in the end, I'm pretty happy with what I have so far. And this is just the beginning, but let me show this to you. So there it is. Just added the carpeting yesterday, and I'll explain a bit more about this for anyone who's interested. I got inspiration by looking at other videos of people who did this for their RAV4s, and there were some awesome ideas. And the thing is, none of them really addressed one issue, which is I'm 6'3", and I really needed something that'd be long enough for me to sleep on. And all the patterns on there were some ingenious designs, but there weren't any that were tall enough for me. This one clocks in at almost 77 inches. So it's long enough for me to sleep on. And yeah, I'm pretty much taking up every square inch in here. But let's see. So how did I do this? So first, it was 3/4 inch plywood. And I wanted to have the ability to use this hatch. And so I took some of the plywood, I cut it to 8 inches thick, and ran it right alongside here. I think the measurement, what was it, 43 and, oh shoot, I don't want to give you the wrong information. 42 3/4 inches is how wide the plywood is in there for the whole thing, because that puts it perfectly up against the wheel wells and allows it to rest on the plastic part right alongside of them. So anyway, I have that right there, and it sits neatly on the little plastic part right on the edge of the carpet, and then that's all up there. And this is basically in 3 pieces, and I'll show you a bit more. So we go over here. The first piece, if I lift the seats up, because I wanted to leave the seats in, and if I lift the seats up and take this part out, this part will still fit nicely back there, which is kind of nice because I pretty much don't see any reason to ever take that out. So the second piece, I have hinged right there, and then I have this nice little bolt which is removable and goes into the beam underneath, which is kind of ugly, and I'm probably going to replace that with a 2x6. Long story for how it ended up like that, but it does work. You can see down there, it just goes right into there. Keeps that bolted. Oh, back up a little bit. Over here, there's a bolt over here too, going from at the other end of the second piece, which is also removable. There we go. Oh. If I want to remove it, but I don't right now. And there's a little bit of a lip so that the second piece rests on that. And then up here, because I'm tall and the Rav4 Limited has an electric driver's seat, which unfortunately, even pushed all the way up, does not allow for enough space, or doesn't allow for the same amount of space as the passenger seat does. See over there, you can see we actually got a little room to spare. But this one, I had to cut a curve in order to do this. Now, it does work because I cut that curve, and then I had to cut the carpet with an X-Acto knife, and so it does work, and now I have access to this. So then probably the last part of this is I use these legs with the 2 bolts Why did I put them up there instead of there and there? Because I wanted to keep these short, which when this is being lifted, I was afraid, maybe unnecessarily, as I said, this carpentry is not really my thing, but I was afraid if these were too long or if it was too far in the back, that when I lift it, since this is coming up at an angle, maybe it wouldn't come out. Might be wrong about that, and who knows, I might still add another bolt in there, but for now, it seems to work fine. Originally, the idea I had with the legs was to put hinges on them, which I did, and then that way, when I want to fold up the third piece, I can just fold these legs up and fold the third piece and be all one nice, elegant thing. Unfortunately, once I got into the car, I realized there's a couple of problems. Mainly, again, my lack of planning and craftsman skill, I guess, is when you try to lift the third piece with the leg hinge to it, boom, it runs into the back seat. Well, then you're saying, well, why don't you just fold it up? If you are camping and you're using that little area in your back seat for storage, you can't, because the boxes or whatever will be in the way. So then you got to move those out of the way, fold this up, and then you have to do the same thing on the other side. So it just didn't work. The most practical thing and the best solution was just to keep these removable and held in place with the bolts. And let me see if I can demonstrate this. So yeah, I just move this down, and I gotta set the camera down, sorry. Okay, I move it down, and then I line the two bolts up when it gets about 2/3 of the way down. Sorry I couldn't show you that, but I need an extra pair of hands. And then it sits there, and I put a little foot on the bottom of it so that when I lift this up, it'll fall outward instead of falling inward. Just preference I had. Plus makes it easier to store under the front seat than if I had put a foot on each side, which would have kept it upright the whole time. Yeah, advantages, disadvantages to both, I guess. So, let me show you what it looks like when I get in here. It's plenty long, and trust me, I'm somebody who's picky about how long sleeping space is. I need to know that I can stretch out, and I totally feel like I can in here, even with this shut, which I won't shut it because you won't be able to see. So here goes. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Plenty of space for me on this side. The other side, it's a little bit shorter because, like I said, that seat won't move up as far, and so not quite as much space. But this side, totally cool. I can sleep in here. One more thing I want to show you. A very low-tech solution, which kind of optional. Because I have this going so far up, you have this middle section between the driver and the passenger seat. I found a book which is just the right thickness that I put here just for a little extra stability. Doesn't really need it. I mean, yeah, if you press down on it, it goes down a little bit in the center, but it's not so much so that it's any big deal. But if I don't want it to do that, I just put the Getting the Most from Your Garden book under there, and there it is. So that's pretty much it. Talked about the legs, the supports, the two bolts in the middle piece, the hinge, and the carpet. Well, I didn't talk much about the carpet. I just went to the local carpet store, got a remnant. Who knows? Maybe a thinner type of carpet would have been a better choice, but I sort of like that this is a little thicker and feels nicer. One more note about the carpeting, if anyone was curious. I took the advice of the guy at the carpet store, and I used spray adhesive on both the plywood and on the back side of the carpet and put this on here. And you know, it was a good solution because it's not like a permanent thing. It's like, yeah, so you can still pull it up, but it made it so sticky that it just, once it's on there, it does not want to move. And in some ways, that might be better than if I had used some industrial glue and then couldn't pull this up, because who knows if this carpet wears out, or if I decide later on I want to go with a different kind of carpet, it's easy enough to remove it. So 3M spray adhesive is what I use, but I'm sure any spray adhesive industrial product will do. Eventually, of course, I'll have a bed on there and a sleeping bag and all that. What I hope to do next, and I'll probably not need the leg up here anymore, but eventually I will, in this area here, hold this back up for a moment. In this area here, I'm thinking I will put an ice chest that will fit there. So won't be huge, but be fine for, you know, shorter camping trips, or no, who knows. It's a work in progress. So there you have it. And hopefully this will inspire some of you out there. I know it inspired me looking at all the YouTube videos of people. There's some really ingenious designs, and you may find one that you like a lot better than mine. I'm sure you will, because I just did the best I could. But being a tall person, mine had some unique variables that I had to work out. So anyway, that's it. Take care and happy camping.